Welcome from Berlin, where we have with Sony and the Xperia Z5 Premium on the right, and on the left we have the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. Beautiful smartphones, and of course also quite expensive, quite similar and quite different in a few terms. When it comes to camera they are different, when it comes to the design they are a little bit similar. When we look at them, for example, from the back, where we have on both this glossy back cover that just attracts fingerprints extremely. So you guys can see I just have to touch it and it gets already smudged, as on the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus you can see how many fingerprints there are already on there, which I can easily get off by just cleaning it on my pants, for example. There we go, and then it's a little bit cleaner now, but yeah, let's just pick them up both and look at these mirrors. On the right you can see me a little bit better in the mirror, so this is perfect as for girls, for example. Otherwise, camera wise, again 23 megapixels on the Sony, and then we have 16 on the Samsung, where the camera is actually sticking out, so it's not really quite that fair to say that this Samsung smartphone is thinner, 6.9 millimeters, while we have 7.8 millimeters on the Sony, so almost a millimeter more. Then, of course, you both have a single flash built in, but the Samsung also has this health sensor, which means that we can just check our heart rate on that phone. Then, if you look at them from the side, you will see that we have on both this beautiful metal cover or metal border all around it, so it feels really premium. But the Samsung, of course, has this edge design, which is also quite nice. So micro USB on both, headset on both, on the Samsung on the bottom, on the Sony on top. But the Sony is actually even waterproof, so water resistant, which is quite nice for taking pictures and videos maybe underwater, or just using it in the shower and stuff like that, even though the ports are completely open. Then we have here the little place where we can just put a little handle on it on the Sony, or a little strap. On the top we have the nano SIM card slot for Samsung, and then the headset for the Sony. The nano SIM card slot is on the side on the Sony, but actually what's different to the Samsung here is also that we can expand the memory. So there's also micro SD card slot inside, which is quite handy. So volume rocker also, then a little Xperia logo. So the Samsung you cannot expand in memory, and also the battery is a little bit smaller in the Samsung with 3000 milliamps compared to 3430 on the Sony. So a little bit more there, and also more pixels on the screen on the Sony, because we have a 4K display, which is quite awesome on the Sony smartphone, and compared to just Samsung's Quad HD with 2560 times 1440 pixels. So in terms of speed, we can just go here in the app drawer in both and just go a little bit left, right, where you will see that both feel quite fast, because we have on both devices a octa core processor, so 8 cores, with Samsung's Exynos 7420 solution on the left, and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 solution on the right. A fingerprint reader here on the Samsung on the front on the home button. Then we have here the last app and back, also separate off the screen, which is 5.7 inches big. Sony now also has a fingerprint reader built in right here on the side, with the on and off switch, where you can just put your finger on it to have that security solution right there. Let me open up on both the browser, and we will try out then here the keyboard test, rotating test that I like to do, where it feels that both phones are about the same in speed. And then we can open up the camera, and then we can see that the front camera on the left is a little bit better, since the wide angle is better, but both have 5 megapixel cameras on the front, so that's alright. I see also here that a mosquito bit my cheek this night, and yeah, the resolution is really quite nice. But let's just turn around both cameras, since this is not that interesting if you ask me. The back camera is the camera that we'll use more, and then let's just see that we have here on the Sony a little bit better wide angle, not much better, but a little bit better. But the screen is not as bright. We have on both the maximum display brightness set right now, but the Sony is a little bit darker here. But it's still an unfinished product. We can shoot here on both picture at the same time to try the speed. Sony should have the better autofocus with 0.03 seconds for focusing, but let's just press the button, and again, about the same in speed, you could say. Doesn't make much of a difference, and I don't think that you should decide based on this which one you should buy. But 16 megapixels here on the Sony, for example, let's check out this magazine a little bit close up, and 23 megapixels here on the Sony. Can't even get closer, so let's just compare the pictures here, where there might be a little bit more details maybe on the Samsung, but I think just the display is brighter. That's why you see a little bit more on the computer when we check it out. I think maybe it would look a little bit better. So both look quite awesome. But the wide angle of the Sony is just a little bit better, since the phones are completely in the picture. So this was it already from both devices in terms of comparison by me. I hope you liked it. Yeah, it's hard to decide in terms of dual speaker waterproofness with the Sony and the 4K display, and on a Samsung just this edged display, which is also quite interesting, and maybe a little bit better front camera, but otherwise smaller battery and not waterproof here, the Samsung. Thank you much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is Balazs, and this was the Sony Xperia Z5 Premium versus the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus.